Boozed and Confused is a comedy and weird topic podcast. Adult language may be used, probably by me. While our episode topics may be educational in nature, we are not responsible if your children start dropping the F-bomb to their kindergarten class. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hi, hello.
Welcome back to another episode of Boozed and Confused. I am Carolanne.
This is Matt.
And this is our podcast. What do I usually say after this?
You normally talk about housekeeping.
Yeah, no.
Housekeeping objects. I built a shelf.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of tidying. It's been a busy weekend.
I cut both my thumbs.
Just to even it out.
Only one has a Band-Aid, though. I think
Yeah.
they both need Band-Aids. Either they both get Band-Aids or neither gets Band-Aids.
That's fine the way it is.
I'm going to go with neither.
Wow.
Ripping off the Band-Aid.
So brave.
It's a big boo-boo.
We have another episode for you today brought to you by me, and it's maybe a little bit shorter than some of our previous episodes. However, this topic scares the shit out of me, and it has for a couple of years, and I don't know how many people know how big of a problem this is.
I also have social anxiety. I just tend to bury it way under there.
Yeah.
Along with all my past traumas and such.
Yeah. Very healthy. But before we get into today's topic, just a few other housekeeping items aside from what we did this weekend.
Yep, like the corner shelf that I built.
Yes. Yeah, you
Things
did
don't-
a
it looks
really good
awesome.
job.
It looks so good, but it doesn't fit
Yeah.
anywhere in the room.
Yeah. We gotta rearrange that. But our items for you. First one, we're on all your favorite social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Not Parler, never Parler.
What about that new one from
Clubhouse?
the My Pillow guy?
Oh God,
Frank
what is that one
Speech?
called?
Frank Speech.
Yeah, no, we're not there either. Nor will we be.
You can find me at Angry Redhead Man.
Is it your handle?
Yeah,
or is that a new website?
No, it's the @ symbol.
Mhm.
Angry, but the A's are actually 4s, and I spelled red wrong.
We're so edgy.
READ.
All right, great. So if social media is not your thing, though, you can send us an email at boozedandconfusedpodcast@gmail.com, and we would love to hear from you. The next item is if you enjoy the pod and you want to support us, the best way that you could do that is by leaving us a review and subscribing or following on your platform of choice. It really does make a big difference, and that's probably why you hear every podcast that you listen to say this, but your reviews make a huge difference in the algorithm, especially if you listen on Apple Podcast.
Something about the algorithm.
Yeah, it does make a big difference.
Just give the people what they want.
But the best part is if you leave us a review and you take a screenshot and you send it to us, we will send you some Boozed and Confused stickers for free in the mail. And they could be yours. We have about 3,998 that still need a new good home, so...
Well, now that a lot of my students have found this, I've been handing them out at school, and now they're on the laptops.
Oh, good.
And you know what? I love it.
Great.
And
yeah,
they're the best.
That's appropriate.
They are the best. You are all the best. Students
Oh, boy.
who illegally listen to this.
Is that why we've had a spike in listeners?
That touches the
I'm
deepest.
I'm conflicted.
That touches it's like the very deepest part of my heart.
Oh boy.
Touched.
All right. And the last is what are you drinking?
This is actually courtesy of our neighbors. We went to a little birthday party across the street, and I walked away with a Natural Light Naturday.
Yeah.
These
disgusting.
remind me of blowing attic insulation in the middle of June.
Hottest day of the year.
Yeah, it reminds me of crawling through the crawl space, not the crawl space, the attic, to put the baffles in and whatnot.
Yeah.
And just hope that I didn't die and
of heat exhaustion, because I would not have been able to get up there and get you.
No, exactly. I would have been dead. No, it's a Naturday. It is like strawberry lemonade with natty light.
Yeah, it's before I got pregnant, I've had a couple. They're okay. I think it disturbs me more that I actually enjoy them. So.
Oh, these are extremely fresh and extremely light, and I could probably have.
And they're cheap.
15 of these.
Yeah. It's not the same cost as your summer shandy. I'll tell you that.
No, way cheaper, and I don't know. It's delightful.
Excellent. And the only other housekeeping item is I'm still pregnant.
What?
I'm still let's see, very out of breath a lot of days. So don't mind the breathiness from me, especially if I get really excited about a part. You're just gonna have to deal for a while.
And you might pause it if it's bad enough. But also, I mean, once you're disposed of, which I'm counting on, I've got 2 guests lined up for our show.
Excellent.
And I will be producing these by myself.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you operate. Can you name the programs that we use?
Wait, you mean like the...
Like, how does this podcast get recorded?
Oh, Voxtricity.
No.
Vocaloid. Voice meter, and the other one you told me after we paused it that I forgot already.
Yep, exactly. So you'll do great. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be on YouTube. We'll record it.
Oh, gosh.
It'll be like the Joe Rogan Experience, only we won't say to not get vaccinated if you're healthy.
God. Alrighty. And with that being said, I think it's time that we dive into the episode. Again, a little bit shorter probably today, but that doesn't mean that it's not still scary as shit. So in the news this past week, you may have heard about the I-40 bridge in Memphis that was shut down. And if you haven't heard about the TLDR is that there's this bridge over the Mississippi River, and it connects Arkansas and Tennessee. It's like 48 years old, spans about just under 2 miles. But they found that there was a major crack in the span. And so that's obviously a huge safety issue.
It's bad.
The bridge has been shut down indefinitely. Estimates are maybe at least like 2 months for them to repair this. So to give you an idea of how critical this crack is, there are 911 calls that were made where the callers who were inspecting the bridge can be heard saying, everyone needs to get off the bridge immediately, shut down traffic both ways, and essentially urging that like it could be on the verge of a catastrophe.
A major collapse,
yeah. And so this is not the first time that there's been like huge issues with our major bridges. If you want to hear a very scary statistic, 4 out of 10 U.S. bridges need to be replaced or repaired, and 1 in 3 bridges on the interstate are included in that.
Oh, I was just going to say how I'm really grateful that this is a very isolated incident.
Yeah. No.
So I'm wrong.
Yes.
This is not isolated.
No. So when people usually hear about bridge collapses, it's not typically the case that... What are you drinking now?
Oh, yeah. Well, we took a little break. This is a Noon Whistle Milk Stout.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
But, despite looking like motor oil, it's only 5%.
Wow.
So
impressive.
Only slightly above the 4.2% of the Naturday, which was honestly like 3/4 done when we started recording.
Yeah, of course. So anyways, usually when you hear about a bridge collapse, it's not typical that there wasn't something leading up to the collapse. Like usually there's like a barge that hits one of the pillars and like, yeah,
like an earthquake.
Yeah, exactly. Like some sort of natural disaster.
Like a Dave Matthews bus driving over. or something.
Those poor people. We don't talk about that in Chicago anymore. It's in the unmentionables. However, there was a very, very famous recent bridge collapse that happened entirely out of structural deficiency, I would say. And so it's the I-35 West Mississippi River Bridge that collapsed during evening rush hour on August 1st, 2007. And that was, I mean, it's recent. Maybe we were a little bit younger, but...
Speak for yourself. I was in college. I was in college in August of 2007.
That is a fair point. So it killed 13 people, injured 145, but the bridge opened in 1967, and it was Minnesota's third busiest bridge, and just, again, like, complete catastrophic failure was the cause. And so NTSB said that the collapse was likely caused by a design flaw, quote, noting that a too thin gusset plate ripped along a line of rivets and additional weight on the bridge at the time contributed to the catastrophic failure, end quote. So they were doing construction on the bridge at the time, and like 4 of the 8 lanes, I think, had been blocked off for like construction equipment, machinery, whatever.
Right. NTSB, of course, is the National Transportation Safety Board, which I totally knew existed before I Googled it after you said NTSB.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought that was a common household acronym.
Oh, it's way up there along with IRS, as we all know that tax day is tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, at the time that you would be listening to this...
Oh, it's today.
It would be today.
You're all screwed.
Yeah, I hope you got your taxes done. So here's where shit gets scary pretty quickly. This bridge didn't just collapse out of nowhere with no warning. And in fact, the bridge was inspected annually since 1993. There wasn't one that was done the year that it collapsed because they were doing this construction. But before 2007, there were reports done that had cited problems with the bridge structure. And that goes all the way back to 1990. Which, like, this bridge collapsed in 2007.
No, it was out of nowhere. Nope.
And in 1990, the government gave the bridge a rating of structurally deficient, saying that there was significant corrosion in its bearings. So I'm going to clarify some stuff here because you hear structurally deficient, and it's a very scary phrase. However, the, like, official thing about it is that a structurally deficient bridge is still technically operational. It doesn't imply that the bridge is unsafe or that it's likely to fall and collapse or fail and collapse, but there are elements of structurally deficient bridges that need to be repaired or monitored closely for defects. So it doesn't mean it's on the verge of collapse. It's just not great.
This is what my doctor said about my knee when I last came in after my last injury.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. So, according to the Congressional Research Service, the public policy research arm of the United States Congress, bridges are considered structurally deficient if significant load-carrying elements are in poor condition due to deterioration or damage. They are also considered structurally deficient if the waterway opening of the bridge causes intolerable roadway traffic interruptions.
Yes.
End quote.
Yes. Just what I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just took the words right out of my mouth. So all of this to say, in other words, a structurally deficient bridge may be restricted to light vehicles or closed periodically for rehab and maintenance. But they're often, like consistent of having like weight restrictions and they're like very clearly posted on the bridge. And if officials think that it's unsafe, they would close the bridge immediately. But you want to hear something scarier?
The bees are dying at an alarming rate.
That too, but that's for a different episode.
Climate change is a problem.
Yes.
Stairs are often confused for being escalators, and it makes people fall down when they're walking up to Air Force One.
Yeah, and more than 75,000 other bridges in the U.S. had this classification in 2007.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, again in 2005, this bridge is rated as structurally deficient and in need of replacement, and an inspection in 2006 found problems of cracking and fatigue. Okay, so here's something that I learned within the last couple of years, only because it made local news, which I'll get into later, but there's this like bridge scoring system that inspectors use that provide a sufficiency rating, as you could say. So it ranges from 0 to 100, 100 being like, they just opened it, it's brand new, highest score. 0 being like, I would not drive on that shit. I would take an alternative route. I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Yeah, if it was a 0, I would tell my worst enemy to go for a long walk.
So in 2005, this I-35 West Bridge was rated at a 50. And that was 2 years before the collapse. So out of over 100,000 heavily used bridges, only about 4% scored below 50 at the time of one of these recent reports. I'm going to do a little bit of Wikipedia quoting here. So in December 2006, a steel reinforcement project was planned for the bridge. However, the project was canceled in January 2007 in favor of periodic safety inspections after engineers realized that drilling for the retrofitting would in fact weaken the bridge. In internal Minnesota Department of Transportation documents, bridge officials talked about the possibility of the bridge collapsing and worried that they might have to condemn it. So they knew for a long ass time that this bridge was a problem.
Right. So what you're saying is they were like, oh, this is pretty bad, but if we fix it, it might break. So,
so
we're just gonna
don't fix it.
We're just not going to fix it.
Yeah.
Because it might not break.
Yeah. And at a certain point in 2007, actually, I think like just after the bridge had collapsed, maybe it was the governor had come out and said like, oh, we were actually planning on entirely replacing this bridge in 2020, which is not something I would want to hear after a bridge collapse.
Right. I mean, if they only just downloaded that like high school science class program where you like make a bridge and then you build that bridge out of toothpicks.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this could have all been averted.
Yeah, I don't think they did that in their training.
No, because like my bridge held like almost 60 pounds.
Yeah.
It almost won the contest.
Yeah, I believe it. But if you are as shocked as I was while listening to this, you might be screaming like, why is this allowed? Because holy shit, that's terrifying.
What about my bridges?
Here's the thing. We have a serious problem with infrastructure in the U.S., and it's not a secret. In fact, according to Statista, a report from the American Road and Transportation Builders Association, ARTBA, if you will.
That's a fun one.
Illustrated the scale of the challenge in overhauling and repairing U.S. infrastructure by finding that more than 220,000 American bridges need repair work. 45,000 of them were deemed structurally deficient, and Americans cross them 171.5 million times daily. At the current rate, it would take more than 40 years to fix all of them and cost an estimated $41.8 billion. However, the good news is that the number of structurally deficient bridges has declined for the past 5 years, but that trend has been tempered by more bridges being downgraded from good to fair condition. So as they're working to improve some bridges, they're being outpaced by other bridges that are still deteriorating. So,
jeez.
Here's something else that's scary. Out of all U.S. states, Iowa has the most structurally deficient bridges, 4,571, or just about 19% of its total bridges. Pennsylvania comes second on the list with 3,353. In the same category, Illinois is right up there with 2,374, and West Virginia has the highest share of bridges classified as structurally deficient at 21%, while Nevada has the lowest at just 1.4%.
Good thing I don't take a lot of bridges.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's crazy because, you think about when you're driving on the expressway, there's so many times that, I would just maybe look up if you're, stuck under traffic or stuck under a bridge, while you're in traffic or something, and I'm not an engineer by any means, but I feel like some of the things that I see, I'm like, oh, that does not instill a lot of confidence in me.
Well, one of the great friends of our pod is an engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I trust him with just about anything of mine. But I always think about, and as I just said, I don't drive bridges. I'm pretty sure most of the highway I take is over that river.
Yeah.
And it is predominantly a bridge.
Yes.
And I always notice when I'm stopped, it's like rattling, it's shaking. But it's like, obviously, they have to have a little bit of that. But I'm always kind of like, oh, no. Oh, this is it. This is it.
So if you are listening to this and you are concerned about bridges near you, here is some good news. You can check out bridge reports near you from artbabridgereport.org, so ARTBA bridgereport.org, or bridgereports.com. I think it's like the same information pretty much. So the entire reason that I even learned that there is a huge issue with bridges in our country is actually near us on I-80 near Joliet in Illinois. There is a bridge that goes over the Des Plaines River. And a couple years ago, this report came out pretty much saying that this bridge could be on the verge of collapse. And that is not an exaggeration. So this report gets done that on that scale that we talked about earlier, from 0 to 100, this bridge got a 6.
We drove on that bridge at least 7 times.
Yeah. we did. I don't love it. And in fact, so there's this union of operating engineers who started putting up these billboards near the bridge because they wanted to inform people of just how bad this bridge actually is. And so these billboards say, bridge ahead in critical condition, cross bridge at your own risk.
I'm going to see that going 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, and so the intention is so that they can like highlight it's one of the lowest efficiency ratings in the state. But yeah, a 6 out of 100 is terrifying.
It's a pretty bad grade.
And so supposedly, starting in 2019 when that rating was originally given, IDOT, which is the Illinois Department of Transportation.
I like that name.
Yeah. It rolls off the tongue a lot more.
It looks like idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I like it. That's why I like it.
So IDOT started performing these inspections every 6 months and allegedly had like a maintenance project scheduled to start that spring. I haven't been able to find anything that says like that they actually did work, but maybe if someone here listens, or if someone here who listens is part of IDOT, maybe let me know if I'm wrong. But these repairs would also include structural steel repairs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, still doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me. I don't know. So the big question of all of this, besides should I even drive on bridges anymore, because, I mean, this shit really scares me. Why do we have such horrible infrastructure problems in the U.S., especially when it comes to bridges? And I will say this is not unique to the U.S. There are other countries who also have these like huge infrastructure problems, but, you know, we're not talking about them. Maybe another episode. The short answer is that we really just haven't been funding it like we should have been. And this has been happening for decades. You know, there's been an effort in recent years to increase spending in some states or most states, but it's genuinely just not enough. So from this like report or article that I found, the United States faces a $2.5 trillion shortfall in infrastructure needs that requires a massive jump in government spending to address crumbling roads, bridges, and other programs. I don't know, fam, but I'd rather hit my car on some potholes than like have a bridge collapse. So maybe let's focus on the bridges first.
Yeah, you know, maybe.
That's just my preference. I don't know. And another quote, according to the most recent federal data, the backlog for the rehab of the nation's bridges is at least $125 billion. It also estimates that we need to increase spending on bridge rehab from $14 billion annually to $22 billion annually if we are to improve the condition. That's a shitload of money.
Mm-hmm. Let me just throw some of my money at it.
Yeah, I have $3. So that's really the gist of today's episode. That's it. Your local bridges could be on the verge of collapse, and you have no idea because you could have an idea now. You could go look it up. But yeah, that shit is scary.
What I'm most worried about, what about all the trolls living under the bridges?
The bridge. What are they going to do about their tolls?
What about the troll tolls?
What do they put the tolls towards? Obviously not bridge repair.
I've never had to encounter a troll toll before, but I imagine if I did face a troll toll, I'm sure it would go towards infrastructure.
Or maybe they would just do the good old Illinois thing and slip like 95% of it in the pocket and put 5% of it towards the actual bridge.
Yeah, I mean, and I for one agree that it's much easier to let these bridges just break and to rebuild them than to try and fix them, because then they might break.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I hope this scared the shit out of you enough to go look up bridges near you. And we don't really get super political on the pod, but if this encourages you to maybe write to your local representatives to, I don't know, maybe like get some more money towards infrastructure and your bridges, so be it.
Maybe some stand-up material. What's the deal with bridges?
Yeah, if you're Jerry Seinfeld. Hi, Jerry. But that's it. That's all I've got today. This topic genuinely scares me because holy shit, you could just be on a bridge at any time and it...
Oddly enough, I think about that pretty much on the daily.
Yeah.
Especially if I slow down on one to like a stop.
Yeah, there's a bridge that I pass under quite often when I'm going to and from my doctor's appointments. And I will purposely avoid stopping under the bridge if I get stuck by the light, which I don't think really helps me very much because I'm sure the radius of if that bridge were to collapse would probably be outside of where I would stop. But, yeah.
But you gotta feel like you're in control for something.
Yeah. I mean, the other option is just like not taking that route. So.
Right. Or just like don't drive. Just take your bike everywhere.
Or just don't leave the house.
Ooh, I like that. As we progress through 2021, that option becomes less and less viable.
Yes. Yeah. It was much more acceptable last year. And this year I'm finding myself like having to actually pull out my wardrobe and like switch my clothes over and like look nice.
Yeah,
leaving the
laundry's
house.
a thing again.
Yeah.
Man. I'm really bummed that I missed the boat on getting on one of those like Reddit posts or like Instagram posts of like angry white guy removing mask at Costco and yelling at people.
You could do the flip side now. You could wear your mask in Costco and then yell at people who are not wearing their masks, even though Costco changed its rules, and I don't think you technically have to anymore.
Got it. Done.
Yeah, there you go.
Less. I'll be right back, everybody.
You just need to adapt.
I'm going to go become famous.
Adapt and overcome. So that is it for today. Those links, again, if you wanted to look up bridges near you, there's artbabridgereport.org or bridgereports.com. And I'm sure if you just gave a simple Google search to like bridge reports near me or something like that, you'd be able to find it too.
Right. Whatever you do, do not go to bigbridges.com. Don't go there.
What is that?
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I'm
Don't
not going to
go
Google it.
To bigbridges.com.
Oh, God. I don't know what that is. But all right. Yeah. Thanks for joining us today. Hope you learned something new. I hope it didn't scare you too much, but maybe just enough. And
Just going to be a little extra careful.
We'll see you guys next week, as long as I don't have a baby around that time.
In which case, I will see you with my special guests. And, oh boy, you're in for some fun times.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Looking forward to it.
If you think I'm taking any notes for those week or two episodes, you better think of something else, because there's no notes. We're right out of the pocket, just hip firing.
I'm looking forward to it.
No, you're not.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you again very soon. We drop new episodes every Monday.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, just like we do everything around the house.
Like we are physically carrying the baby, yeah.
Just remember that today, when you hear this, today is tax day.
Yes.
And you better get that going.
Go do your taxes.
Maybe give last week's episode a listen if you missed it. Also about taxes.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe listen to that episode while you're doing your taxes. And then just, I don't know, become enraged, want to throw all of your tea overboard or something.
Ooh, yeah, the tea thing. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Alrighty. Well, see you guys next week.
Hey, dilly dilly. Goodbye.
Bye.